Good afternoon, everyone. Ladies and gentlemen, excellencies, it's really an honor and a pleasure to be here. My name is Máté Heisz. I'm the COO of SolarPower Europe. SolarPower Europe is the association representing the entire solar sector in Europe. We're based in Brussels, Belgium, because that's the capital of the European Union, and we work very closely with the institutions of the European Union to represent our over 300 members vis-à-vis the institutions, and our main objective is to make sure that solar energy is the leading source of energy of the future. Our membership covers the entire value chain from manufacturing to developers, mostly big companies, international companies that are active globally, not only in Europe. And that's why I'm here, because many of our companies are interested in markets like Bangladesh, and we're exploring business opportunities, cooperation opportunities in countries like Bangladesh. So it's really a pleasure to be here. And before kicking off the panel discussion, let me just set the scene. I'm going to try to set the scene by providing you with one number to really demonstrate the scale of the ongoing energy transition, energy revolution, I would say. And of course, this number is going to be from the solar sector, but it's really important to know that similar figures are valid for other sectors, such as wind, hydro, hydrogen, bioenergy, etc. But of course, solar energy is particularly close to my heart because I work for SolarPower Europe. It took humanity over 70 years to install 1 terawatt of solar energy. And we reached this 1 terawatt milestone in 2022, so just 3 years ago. And this was really a major achievement. We were all celebrating around the world, and we were very proud of this achievement. And just for you to be able to imagine what 1 terawatt, so 1,000 gigawatt means, that corresponds to the installed capacity of approximately 2,000 traditional coal power plants or gas power plants, fossil-fueled power plants. And then, do you know how long it took to install the 2nd terawatt? 2 years. It took 2 years, so last year in 2024, we've reached the 2 terawatt milestone. And we expect that by the end of the decade, we will be installing 1 terawatt per year. So this is really major. This is an energy revolution. And in this panel discussion, we will be discussing how Bangladesh can also tap into this opportunity, into this revolution. So in this panel discussion, we will be showcasing potential. We will be highlighting really the urgent need for investment in renewable energy production in Bangladesh and the potential. We will be addressing challenges, identifying barriers in the business environment, the investment framework, and also looking for solutions. And we'll be exploring green financing opportunities and mechanisms to support renewable energy in Bangladesh. So with this, I'm turning to our distinguished panelists, and I'm not going to reintroduce you because you've already been introduced, but of course feel free to say a few words about yourself and your organization at the beginning of your interventions. And before kicking it off, let me just conclude my intro with some housekeeping rules. So we have about 45 minutes for the panel discussion. So each of you will have the opportunity to answer to two questions. I would like to really ask you to stick to 3 minutes answering the first question, and then 2 minutes for the second question. And after the 45-minute panel discussion, we'll have the possibility for a Q&A with the audience. So I'm already inviting our distinguished guests and participants to start thinking about questions you may have for our panelists. So first, I would like to turn to Mr. Jalal Ahmed, Chairman of BERC, the Bangladesh Energy Regulatory Commission. I wanted to ask you, Mr. Ahmed, to set the scene from your point of view. What's the importance of an increased renewable energy share in the energy mix in Bangladesh, from your point of view, in terms of energy security, energy access, affordability, and also, of course, from the point of view of your organization, it's, I think, quite a relevant question to look at how the energy pricing can contribute to unlocking the energy transition.
Thank you very much. This is a very important and pertinent question, and particularly in this juncture of time. As Honorable Advisor for Power and Energy has mentioned about the transition which we are now following in Bangladesh. As he has mentioned, and all of us are aware, in last 15 years, in fact, we have invested a lot in the generation of electricity from fossil fuel mainly. Though we have started producing renewables, particularly solar, almost 15 years or 18 years back, but it has not increased further. The investment in the solar is very slow, except the solar home system, which is in fact the Honorable Advisor was the trailblazer. He was managing director of ITCOL, and Bangladesh boasts the 6 million solar home system. But in the grid, I think in this last 15 years, only 1,000 megawatt has been added. But presently, as he has mentioned, we are, in fact, we are going to invest in aggressive way in solar for the transition from the fossil fuel to the renewable. As in Bangladesh, we are aware that the fossil fuel, the natural resources of Bangladesh, natural gas is depleting. We need to import coal or petroleum like diesel or furnace oil for producing power. It is costly also. So renewable is a very good option. So the policy, in fact, is being changed to allow more investment in the renewables. And as BERC, Energy Regulatory Commission, it is a regulatory body. In fact, whenever the government policy will be changed, will be in place, like government is working on 3 policies. So one is renewable solar power, one is for merchant power plant, and another policy they are working on. So when the policies will be in place, certainly the BERC will work on the tariff structure and others. There are opportunities where the investors, as it has already decided, I think, to give benefits from the NBR, National Board of Revenue, on tax exemption and other areas. And from in the tariff area, certainly BERC will frame appropriate regulations to give favorable treatment to the producer who will invest in the renewable energy. So to start with, that's all from me. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Indeed, and I believe, I completely agree with you that energy pricing does have a very important impact on the business case for renewables. So maybe later on we can explore this aspect as well. But I would also like to now turn to Mr. Khandker, Chairman of the Sustainable and Renewable Energy Development Authority, SREDA. And sir, from your point of view, what's the potential for different renewable energy sources in Bangladesh, including solar, wind, and offshore wind, biofuels, hydropower as well? And what are the limits? So we know that one of the main challenges in Bangladesh is actually land availability. So how can land availability challenges be addressed in Bangladesh? And also climate vulnerability considerations are something to be taken into account as well.
Okay, thank you. The moderator rightly said there are different types of renewable energy. All these are listed in our draft renewable energy policy, revised renewable energy policy. Almost only we find there are much potential in the solar sector. Solar power in our country, solar irradiation is high and reasonable, and also the decreasing the panel cost at present, so it will be a good potential. Another thing then come from wind area. Wind is a promiscuous, but it is nearly offshore and near shore area. In Bangladesh, bioenergy and hydropower, it is very limited scope because we have river water flowing is not so much permissible. So what we can do for solar, it is okay, and wind, we are already in a position. We now collecting data from some Bhola and Cox's Bazar Jilla, some 5 MetMask tower has been lifted, and then the data collection is ongoing. After the collection of data, we will modeling and mapping. Then if it is found the good location, then it will be tendered to wind power generation. So all this and the vulnerabilities that is for flooding or you say caused by climate vulnerability and limited land scarcity. For land scarcity, we are taking solar rooftop system so that we can use a roof for a solar power, and we are updating our net metering guideline so that a large scale of solar power can be developed. And for vulnerability, yes, Bangladesh has some low-lying areas. There may be flood and climate, especially cyclone, may be occurred. So there can be a energy, smart energy we can think about so that it can be solved. These are the challenges.
Thank you very much, and thank you also for sticking to the time. We're perfectly in time, and indeed, so in terms of land availability, I think rooftop solar is one of the best use cases to address the challenge because it doesn't take additional land, but renewable energy and solar energy in particular, of course, is extremely versatile, which is one of the main advantages of renewable energy. And there are innovative applications such as agri-solar, combining agricultural use with energy production. That is also something, floating PV. So these are innovative applications that can also be used actually to address land availability. With my next question, I would like to turn to Ms. Sarah Negro from H&M, Global Head of Public Affairs from H&M. So congratulations on signing the MOU. And I wanted to ask you a follow-up question on this. So you just signed a corporate power purchase agreement MOU for a pilot project. Can you tell us a little bit about the background? What were the decisive factors that made you do this, made you go ahead? Actually, you are really a trailblazer here in Bangladesh on this.
Absolutely, thank you so much. So we realize with all of the data that are now available from all of the suppliers that are producing from us, we understand that for the climate change solutions, we need to move towards renewable electricity in a size that is just not compatible with simply using the rooftop solar options. That will not be enough to cover our needs. We actually have done first estimate that we will need 2,500 megawatt just to cover the present use of electricity in our suppliers. And we look for expanding that well beyond this number because we need to electrify additional processes of the industry in order for us to be able to reach our goals. In this way, we need the corporate power purchase agreements to come into place. There is no other solution in order to expand the quota of the renewable electricity that is available today in the grid. And we all know that that number is now quite low still. We are below 5%. So there is no other option but to generate more renewable electricity by expanding the options available in the market and allowing for this mechanism to come into place. We have been engaging with the Bangladesh government for quite some time. We are very happy that even today we have received very comforting signs that indeed the market can be opened with the new merchant policy that is coming up for us. And within that framework, we would like to position this pilot project. The size is obviously not matching the needs, but we need to start from somewhere. And this is why we are extremely happy to have joined forces and energy, I would say, with Pran Group and with IFC to really launch this pilot beyond the finish line. And we want to be brave. We cannot wait for everything to be set perfectly in stone. So we hope to use this small project as a pilot to illustrate how things could actually work out in Bangladesh, so to meet the needs of the country, but also to find a way to connect this industry that is absolutely key for the economic development of the country with the generation of renewable electricity. Only in this way, Bangladesh will maintain its renowned competitiveness in the global markets. This will be an asset of incredible importance for Bangladesh. And I know that sometimes we might feel that because Bangladesh is so much tilted toward natural gas, the situation might not be so bad comparatively with other markets, but this is not the case anymore. Other markets are doing incredible steps towards electrification, and Bangladesh cannot stand behind. So this is what we are working on together with our partners, financial institutions, and with the government.
Thank you, Sarah, and thank you in particular also for raising the question of electrification. It's really important, I think, to further enable the energy transition in Bangladesh and around the world. It's also one of the most important topics and advocacy elements that our association, my association, is working on. And indeed, also on my side, congratulations to the Bangladeshi government on taking meaningful steps forward on the MPP, the merchant power policy. I think it's really going to enable a new and very fruitful, valuable business segment for companies like H&M and more. And it's really good to have H&M really showing the way on this. My next question will go to Mr. Tanveer Mohammad, Chief Corporate Affairs Officer at Grameenphone Ltd. So Grameenphone has also pledged to reduce its carbon emissions by 50% by 2030, if I'm correct. How are you planning to do so? Are you also planning to tap into the opportunities offered by the MPP, or what role will innovative green financing mechanism, what role will renewable energy play in this goal?
Thank you. So as you said, we have taken a very aggressive target. That target is we need to reduce our carbon footprint to 50% level of what we had in 2019. But the challenge is, you see, in our cell phone, we are a cell phone operator, right? We are using more and more data. So what is happening? We are actually consuming more and more electricity. So if we translate the 2019 level, at 50%, that is 110 kilowatt of carbon. But in 2030, the way actually the more data is being used, the way we are expanding the capacity, what we are seeing, will be ending up in consuming 3 times more electricity of what we are doing now. Then how to really address that? The thing is, what we are doing, we are trying to really optimize our energy use, but at the same time, what we are also seeing, the grid from where actually we are getting the electricity is not very clean. So we have to really we have to find alternate source of energy. So for sure, the green energy, it can be solar, it can be wind, can really fit into that. But there is one more perspective. For Grameenphone, to operate the network, we have what we call base stations. And these are spread all over the country. At this moment, we have more than 22,000 sites. We have some big data centers as well. It's not really possible to put solars in all these 22,000 locations. So what we need a concentrated location where green energy can be produced. So actually, when the advisor was saying that this CPPA will be allowed, it was coming as a music to your ears, and also following the trail from Sarah, what you are setting up. I think if we can really get some big plants under CPPA setup, and then we can get the electricity to our desired locations through already the established distribution network through wheeling, we should be able to address this mammoth challenge of really reducing our carbon footprint by 50%. So this is how we are looking at this problem at this moment.
Thank you very much. This is really fantastic to hear. Yes, indeed. I think a round of applause, indeed. So this is really a clear demonstration of the existing demand by companies established in Bangladesh for renewable energy and for a functioning MPP, merchant power policy. So another encouragement for the Bangladeshi government to really finalize this regulatory framework. And I'm sure that these companies, along with many other companies and associations, will be happy to provide input on how to best design such a regulatory framework. My next question goes to Mr. Michael Steidl, head of regional representation for South Asia at the European Investment Bank. Michael, can I ask you about the EIB's activities in the region, in particular in Bangladesh, and how EIB is contributing to the development of renewable energy in the country, in the public sector and also in the private sector? And if you can say a few words about the Global Gateway initiative of the EU as well.
Thank you, Máté. European Investment Bank, just a few words for people who are not very well acquainted with who we are. So we are a multilateral development bank. The EIB is owned by the 27 member states of the European Union, and we work very closely together with the European Commission in order to support the policy goals and the goals of cooperation that the European Commission has. In Bangladesh, we currently have a project portfolio of around about 1 billion euros. We are very active here in the water sector, health, transport, and in renewable energy. So in renewable energy, our flagship project that we have now is the BREF, the Bangladesh Renewable Energy Facility. That is a project that's based on a loan by the EIB to Bangladesh of 350 million euros, which will support projects. We usually don't finance more than 50% of a project, so that means that we leverage financing through that of at least 700 million euros. And we hope to work together with our colleagues, our partner organizations from what we call Team Europe, which you see on the screens here. Team Europe means the EU and their member states actively participate to finance opportunities in the area of renewable energy through that. So the 350 million that I mentioned, that is a framework loan. Framework loan means that the projects that will go under this loan still have to be developed and defined. So the Ministry of Power will actually present projects to us. Single projects might have the sizes of 30, 40, 50 million euros. They will be presented to us, will be financed by us and by our development partners. Therefore we will fill up this framework loan in the future with actual projects. You asked for Global Gateway. So Global Gateway, what we call Global Gateway, is actually a platform where we put in, under which we put, together with the European Union, we put the most strategic projects with the country there. So in order to achieve our common, very strategic goals for development, be it local, regional connectivity, or be it supporting our partner countries in achieving their climate goals, which is where the renewable energy projects actually fall into. And as the last word of this first round, alluding to what Ambassador Miller said in his speech, we are looking very strongly in expanding our portfolio, expanding our projects here in Bangladesh, even to an extent where we would say we are ready to double our portfolio over the next 2 years, which then would include also further projects, hopefully in renewable energy sector.
Thank you, Michael, indeed, and I think that's also worth a round of applause, the intention of the EIB to expand its portfolio, and it's really good to have at least already one flagship project under the Global Gateway in Bangladesh, which is the Bangladesh Renewable Energy Facility. I personally look forward to seeing these projects happen, and I hope that the Global Gateway and the EIB will be able to support further in terms of, for example, in the IPP model or even the MPP model as well, potentially jointly with other European DFIs, development finance institutions. Thank you. My next question would go to Mr. Ahsan Khan Chowdhury, the CEO of PRAN Group. And sir, congratulations to you as well on signing the MOU with H&M. Can you tell us a little bit about this corporate PPA plan with H&M from your point of view, and what are the ambitions of PRAN Group in terms of sustainable development and sustainable commitments?
Okay, so thank you very much. I think first of all, few basic things that the world has many good things to offer, and Bangladesh should not fall behind. So whatever in the renewable side, it was a good option that was proposed by our great customer called H&M, who has been a wonderful partner for Bangladesh for many years. So they were thinking about how they can make their production base more renewable or more sustainable or more green. So we came in, we thought that what are the challenge for our customer becomes requirement for us. Like so that if we are not able to fulfill the requirement of our customer, then we are not doing a good job as a supplier. And I think Bangladesh needs customers like H&M and many of the customers like H&M in this country. So we came in and we figured that they wanted to do a renewable power plant, which is a solar power plant. Pran had has the habit of maximizing its asset, because in Bangladesh we have got little assets and we have to make the good use of all the assets that we have. We have a water body in the district of Moli Bazar, which is about 300 acres of land, and we thought that we will have aquaculture, which will get fish to Bangladeshi consumer at a reasonable price. And if we can get floating solar on top, then H&M can be happy with the more renewable power that we can give to H&M. So it's the fish at the bottom and the top is the power, and God is giving the sun from the top. So I feel that that will help Bangladesh to make its power sources more renewable. And I figured that it is a very good business, because I'm so happy to sitting next to EIB, because they give the funding, and like many others, my IFC friends are giving funding. So for a company like us, the funding was not a big problem, because going for renewable sources, there is plenty of funding resources available. And I think it's a good project that will help Bangladesh to make our power source more renewable. And also it will also help Prana Rafael to improve its footprint in the sustainability agenda. Because right now, whatever power that we use to run our factories are coming from fossil fuel sources. We would like it to be going more on the renewable sources. So there's a great opportunity for us. Financing is there, project is there, Bangladesh needs it, customer wants it. So why should we not do more renewable solar? And we are happy that we are getting to an execution and government is supportive. If we can get our power purchase agreement through, I think once the regulations are in place, hopefully we'll be able to take it forward. And it will be a great project that the world can come and see, where it's an aqua, solar, and renewable power together in the same area.
Thank you very much. I think this was another very clear demonstration of the need for establishing the regulation very fast, because there is a lot of demand for it in Bangladesh. And I think it's also interesting to really understand or look at the kind of the business model Pran Group and H&M are applying for this. I understand Pran Group is in a way providing the land, and indeed providing the land it's a very important detail here in Bangladesh with limited land availability, and H&M is kind of providing the demand for the electricity. So this could be maybe a replicable business model for other consortia as well. So with my next question, I would like to turn to Mr. Said Farouk, partner at COP Frontier. And so far we've been primarily talking about the case studies that we've been looking at were solar projects, but you are focusing more on offshore wind and nearshore wind energy. So could you say a few words about the opportunities for nearshore and offshore wind in Bangladesh, and what does the financial feasibility look like, and what size of projects, what types of projects are you looking at currently?
All right, thank you. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Before I answer the moderator's question, let me point out a few things so the conversation becomes more relevant. COP Frontier, it's a partner of, or entity of Copenhagen Offshore Partners, which is based in Denmark, and we have offices 18 offices across all continents, and almost 30 gigawatts of offshore wind in development. So exclusively, so you can pretty much understand that COP's expertise in this area. So when it comes to Bangladesh, something we've been working on for quite some time, given the offshore wind's scalability, and as well as the ability to harvest offshore wind on the coast of Bangladesh, we believe that there's an opportunity to have a utility scale renewable power available to Bangladesh. So that's where we have started right now. And the question is, the second question you had, that financially how feasible it is. It looks promising. Offshore wind is something more complex, and we have done some pre-feasibility studies, and we feel based on the pre-feasibility study, it will be very similar to the onshore project that we have in Bangladesh currently in terms of tariff level. What's important for you to understand here is that we are focusing on, because Bangladesh has a low wind speed, shallow water condition, so our consideration is more nearshore. So you have options such as offshore, nearshore, onshore. And there are a few reasons why we have considered nearshore. One being obviously the one I mentioned earlier, that offshore wind, the scalability, and then ability to harvest. Second thing is it gives you opportunity to work on shallow water. So foundation is an important factor. And because of that, we can probably use and deploy local supply chain, local expertise. Also, it helps us in terms of transmission cost, as opposed to being in the deep sea where substations are more expensive. So we can be closer to that. What's critical at this point, what we have been looking at it, is to start our wind measuring campaign. That will dictate and will actually identify the real potential of offshore wind in Bangladesh. Thanks.
Thank you very much. Indeed. Let me come back to this. Let me start with the second round of questions here, and I would like to turn to Mr. Jalal Ahmed from the BREC again. And we heard earlier today from the energy advisor that Bangladesh has recently launched a series of tenders for multiple gigawatts of renewable energy projects in Bangladesh, and this is extremely exciting. We, as SolarPower, we have been disseminating this information to our members, and I know that some of our members are actually actively looking at this opportunity and looking to bid. But I wanted to ask you, Mr. Jalal Ahmed, so what has been the experience on this so far? What are the challenges that you're seeing, and what's the background of this on the change of strategy?
In fact, the experience is mixed. As I have told the Honorable Advisor for Power and Energy, he is a renewable man, because he led ITCOL for the 6 million solar home system in Bangladesh. He was MD of ITCOL. So he knows a lot about this renewable solar energy. When this interim government came into power, we know that they have cancelled all the in fact, contract for solar, I think 34 or like that. Contract they have cancelled. Those were, in fact, inked under the special law, special procurement law without competitive bidding. And they quickly, very quickly, in fact, they went for bidding. Around 41 bid was there for the bidders to take part. In fact, it was not participated. So then the government, in fact, gone through the process, gone through the provisions, in fact, of bidding documents. And they have adjusted those provisions which they found that was not favorable to the bidders. And after necessary correction, in fact, they went for another round of bidding, which will be completed, I think, by 28th of May. So this is another almost 2 months is there. They now asked for bid for 14 bigger solar power plants. In Bangladesh, we have now one solar power plant in Tista. In Gaibandha, it is 200 megawatt. One in Pabna, it is 100 megawatt. One in Sunagaji, it is 75 megawatt. And in Sunagaji, that is a government one. The EGCB, the electricity generation company, now they are planning another power plant in Sunagaji for 220 megawatt. So we are now experiencing bigger plants. So they now ask for bidding for these 14 bigger power plants. And when all the biddings will be completed, in fact, 5,000 megawatt will be added to the grid. I think this time the provisions are better, and this will favor the bidders in this respect. So I think this time when the bid will be closed by 28th May, I think we'll get good number of bids to consider. Thank you.
Thank you indeed, and I think it's very encouraging and very positive to hear that the government and the public sector is indeed taking into account the feedback of the private sector to optimize the bidding document. So thank you indeed. My next question would go to Mr. Khandker Abdul, Chairman of SREDA. And indeed, so there is this draft renewable energy policy in Bangladesh, which actually does foresee the use of innovative applications such as floating PV, agri-PV. Can you say a few words about that and what opportunities you think there are for these innovative applications in Bangladesh, and what types of business models or tenders are foreseen or will be foreseen for these applications in Bangladesh?
Okay. In the draft renewable energy, we have mentioned floating solar and also agri-PV, because we have land scarcity, so we have to dual use of land. So in that case, floating solar and agri-PV is the best idea. This is an innovative idea, but there is a challenge. There is a challenge because it is floating solar impact on maybe underwater biodiversity. So it is to be studied. And also in agri-PV, we have to think about the quality of crop quality and yield so that it does not hamper our food security. So it is to be required total examined assessment, study and piloting the project with community engagement so that they can mobilize, so they can understand its usability. So this require, we are in a way, if study is done, we also in some few months ago, we have consulted with GIZ explaining the reason. They have, we are requesting the finance for study. I think they will do. If study is done, and then we have a business model we can develop, then it will be possible. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. This is very exciting indeed, and I think there is a lot of opportunity offered by agri-PV and solar and floating PV. In particular, agri-PV, I think, in Bangladesh, because of land availability and also European companies actually have quite some expertise with agri-PV, and I'm sure that the European Union and the delegation will also be happy to facilitate this exchange of experiences, exchange of technology and business models, and also analysis. There are a number of research centers, for example, in Europe who are able to help to quantify, for example, the impact on crops, right? So that's very, very exciting. Thank you. I would now like to come back to Sarah Negro, Global Head of Public Affairs from H&M, and you mentioned electrification, and related to electrification, there is also the question of grid stability. Could we dig a bit deeper on these topics? Why are these so important from the point of view of your company?
Yes, indeed. Thank you for asking this question, because I think it's going to be, it is already very important today, but it's going to be extremely important tomorrow. With the CVPA coming into place, we can actually improve the overall section of the grid that is renewable, and even more importantly, we can connect to that directly the industry. However, the grid stability might be an issue, and it is already to some extent an issue today. Now, when we talk about the grid stability, we should not come to this topic with a very European-centric mentality. Grids have completely different characteristics in Asia compared to what we are used to in the European Union, for instance. But obviously, we see that the use of electricity from the grid in Bangladesh from our suppliers is lower than our world average. We have data from all of the countries we produce within, and Bangladesh is lower than that average. That is an indication, is a clear demonstration that the suppliers have had issues in terms of grid stability. Now, with our dependency from the grid, in order for us to be able to electrify, that issue might become bigger in the future. And this is why it's so great to have here at the table those institutions that can take a deeper look into this matter and hopefully come to the rescue and come with solutions and with investments that will be key for the next 10, 15, 20 years for Bangladesh. Electrification is going to be a very important challenge that we cannot postpone to tomorrow. We have already started electrifying. We have been financing specific projects in different countries, introducing technologies that are not particularly advanced, technologies that are available, that are easy to use, right? So electrification can happen in Bangladesh too, in a quite expedite way, as soon as we have the preconditions in place, really.
Thank you very much, Sarah, indeed. And electrification and flexibility and grid stability are very important topics in Europe as well, where we have quite high shares of renewable electricity in the grid. The advantage of having relatively low shares for now in Bangladesh is, of course, that you can go fast without immediately having to reinforce grids. But I've just been instructed by the organizers that we will have to move to the Q&A session, so I really apologize to the other panelists. We won't have time for a second round right now, but I of course encourage the audience to ask your questions to those panelists who haven't had the chance for a second round yet. So if you have comments or questions, then please raise your hand and we will be happy to take some questions from the audience. And I know that Mr. Mustafa Khan, Managing Director of Flow Solar, wanted to ask a question. So, sir, over to you.
Hi, thank you so much. So I'm Mustafa, the Managing Director of Flow Solar and the partner of Volta Group from France. So actually I have a question that I want to ask on behalf of my partner. So when they're investing in renewable projects in Bangladesh, and the merchant power plant policy looks very interesting and impressive, but they will be investing in euros or dollars over a 15 or 20 year period. But a lot of local companies get their revenue in Taka. So how do we ensure that our investors' IRR is actually properly, done in a currency? And is there any kind of hedging mechanism that can be worked out with the financial institutions who are here to see if we can support the investors to make sure we can bring in the large amount of foreign investment which is a potential here? Thank you.
A few things that one can be done, like say work with people like H&M, because they have got the revenues or they have got their sales in dollars. So that could help you. That is number one. Second is, if you look at the pricing of the grids pricing, as the price of the fuel prices goes up globally, Taka, if it appreciates or depreciates, like I said, that it keeps on going up and down. So your cost of power will continue to move upwards. So, if you try to keep a pricing, even in BDT Taka terms, which are pegged to the, price of the, the grid pricing, then you will be able to find a way to find a natural hedge for your project, so it will still be fine. In terms of financing is, in Bangladesh, we have got two ways of financing. You can go to people like ITCOL, and if it's ITCOL, it's going to be a BDT Taka funding. You can go to the local Bangladeshi bank, that's a BDT Taka funding. If you have to go for a hard currency borrowing where it's a dollar, yes, it could be of a problem, but there could be a natural hedge that you can create based on the, that up and down of the our grid rates that they might be there.
Thank you for the question and for the answer. Are there any other questions? I see a question over there. I believe it's Ms. Alexandra Lutz, Head of Division Competence Center for German Export Finance.
Yes, thank you very much. I'm the regional representative of the German Export Credit Agency and responsible for Bangladesh. I only like to add one important comment because I heard the Global Gateway and IEB, and we are working closely together with IEB because usually we can, as Export Credit Agency, support projects like yours, which are really, really important because we would like to support it, and we work together in providing export credit guarantees to your projects, and so that will be together with the financing part of the banks very important for you, because the loans can be longer and also the interest rates are usually lower, because there are many export credit agencies in Europe, and only one, I'm representing the German one, and we can provide guarantees, and please reach out to us because we can support your business also. And this is the only one I wanted to add because it's important that we also work closely together. So that's it.
Thank you very much for that comment. And I believe there was a question over here as well. We would need a microphone over here in the front.
Me? Hello. I am Silvio Testa Seca. I am the agricultural attaché from Brazil. I just want to...
Excuse me, if you may be able to be patient for a minute, please. The gentleman over here would like to ask a question.
Go ahead.
I'm also curious to hear from Brazil. But congratulations with this huge step forward. And as the Netherlands, we are happy to be part of this via the European Union. As a country, we are pretty advanced in offshore energy. However, we have to admit that in this particular case, Denmark has been a bit faster, so congratulations, Denmark. And well, so this is your day today. Congratulations again. Tomorrow, in a way, well, we hope that it will become our day, focused on agriculture and food security. And then, of course, we hope to see prawn again. So, Mr. Chowdhury, can you confirm your participation for tomorrow?
Yes, sir, I'll be there. Thank you.
Okay, wonderful. Thank you. Brazil.
Indeed, thank you very much to the Netherlands, and let's go back to Brazil indeed. And we have, afterwards we will have time for one more question.
Okay, my question is a single one. I am Silvio. I arrived here in December to work as an agricultural attaché for the next 4 years. And so my question is for everybody. Do you consider ethanol also in this matrix of energy here? And this I am telling this because I grew up in São Paulo. It was a city very polluted 40 years ago, and so nowadays we really do not have any pollution anymore there. This is one of the good things that the ethanol can give for everybody here also.
Okay, so on ethanol side, we are not so blessed like Brazil, so we don't have enough sugarcane to convert into ethanol. But if you guys have ethanol, please give us the solution. Happy to see the pricing of the ethanol. If it works out to be better, more competitively priced, I'm sure our government will be very willing to look at it, and also private sector will be looking forward to looking into this.
Thank you very much for the question and for the answer. And the last.
Because this could be a great opportunity to bring companies from Brazil also and to invest here. This is my job here. This is what I would like to do, Thank you.
That's very interesting. Thank you very much. And I think indeed cooperation with Brazil could be very promising. We have time for one final question, and I would like to give the word to Mr. Imran over there.
Yeah, hello, thanks. This is Imran Chaudhuri. So I'm representing a German company, IBWork. So we are one of the active European investor in Bangladesh art industry. So implementing a 50 megawatt project in Sonagaji area under private power generation. So I'd like to make my question very specific. So my question to maybe BERC sir or the SREDA sir, that we all know that land is one of the biggest problem in the country. So then why the current government is floating the tender without land, without a grid evacuation, and expecting from the private sector that they would bid for competitive tariff? And also my just last question is that to the Pran sir, MD sir, that what's the key background from your side that you think that you are going with the CPPA as a bankable? Because as a foreign investor, what we think that it's really tough to sign a kind of private power purchase agreement with a private sector in Bangladesh, for the payment guarantee issue. Yeah, thanks.
So 1 minute. It has been mentioned by Chairman SREDA regarding the land issue. We are aware because the government is in a right position to reply this question, not me. But still, I am aware that the ministry was considering this issue before floating the tender initially. As we are aware, particularly in our neighbor country in India, usually the government or public sector, in fact, they provide land and transmission line to the substation. Here, certainly the government is not in a position at this point to provide land. But the government, particularly Mr. Fazul Kabir Khan, is in thought that the land, if the government can provide land and the transmission line, then the per unit cost will come lower further. So they are, or the government is considering this. But in these tenders, that provision has not been made, but it is in the thought. Thank you.
Thank you very much. So I'm afraid that we will have to start wrapping up now, and I really apologize to those who didn't have the possibility to ask your questions, but please feel free to approach us, approach the panelists after the discussion. Let me just try to conclude with some thoughts and remarks and some summary from my side before concluding today's session. So, and I would like to really recall the words of His Excellency, the Chief Advisor from earlier today, where he was recommending, he was suggesting to do business with purpose and to change the world by doing business. And I think really the renewable energy sector is probably one of the best sectors to really do business and change the world at the same time, because renewable energy is good for the environment and for the climate. And 10, 20 years ago, if you were in renewable energy, then that was your main motivation. But by today, renewable energy has really become the cheapest source of electricity, very competitive all over the world, and especially in a country like Bangladesh with a lot of sunshine, with ideal geographical conditions. Investing in renewable energy, both downstream deployment and upstream manufacturing, really helps to improve competitiveness of every country. And renewable energy deployment as well as manufacturing create a lot of jobs locally, and these are local jobs. So there are plenty of reasons for investing in renewables and for creating an enabling regulatory framework for renewables. And Bangladesh's renewable energy potential is really vast and so far mostly untapped. But we see that there is a lot of opportunity here and a lot of movement, and it's great to see the strong ambition of the government. And Europe is, as was said by Ambassador Miller, is extremely motivated and a very interesting partner, bringing technology, financing, technical assistance through what we call the Global Gateway initiative. And of course, there are some challenges, and overcoming barriers and challenges, of course, require policy and regulatory reforms, which are very much ongoing in Bangladesh. We heard about the draft renewable energy policy, which provides an enabling environment. We heard about plans to enable the MPP, the merchant power policy, corporate power purchase agreements, agri-solar, floating solar, and other innovative applications. We heard about ways to address challenges related to land availability. So there is a lot of positive movement going on in Bangladesh. And when I go back to Brussels in 2 days, I will be very happy to report back to my association and my members about this. And of course, financing is very important as well. And it was really good to have EIB in this panel discussion, offering some insights on how Europe can contribute to financing and to overcoming financing-related challenges in Bangladesh. So with this, I would like to invite the participants to join me in thanking our distinguished guests for today. Thank you very much for this very insightful and interesting panel discussion. Thank you.